My family is Asian, while my future sister-in-law is white. I don't have a problem with her as we have several members of our extended family who married into other cultures. In fact, I'm currently in a serious relationship with a woman who's also white. My girlfriend is wonderful and loves trying new things that my culture has to offer. Some things she loves, other things she likes, and she downright hates some things. The main point is that she tries them, whether music, food, or traditions. My future sister-in-law is the complete opposite. She rarely comes to family dinners because she doesn't like the smell of our food. She doesn't join in our celebrations because it's so different. For example, the Lunar New Year is a huge celebration for us, and she calls it a fake New Year we made up, just a party. She and my brother are having their wedding soon. Surprise, she didn't want any representation of our culture. It got to the point that my parents almost refused to go. We had to have a huge sit-down to smooth things over, and I was on my brother's side, even though I was also annoyed by sister-in-law. I told my parents it was their wedding, and we should stay out of the planning. The trouble started when my girlfriend and I took my parents out for my mom's birthday. My girlfriend commented on my mom's necklace, to which my mom answered that she already picked out the style for my girlfriend's jewelry set when we got married. In our tradition, the groom's family gifts their new daughter-in-law a necklace, earrings, and other jewelry during the morning event on the wedding day. This set usually costs $50,000 in my family tradition. My girlfriend was honored and then asked if my mom picked out one yet for my sister-in-law since their wedding was coming up. My mom said no, and that she'd meet with the jeweler soon to see what they had to offer. I spoke up and asked why they were going through with this one tradition when sister-in-law has forbade all of our other traditions. I said I wasn't chipping in and suggested gifting her a toaster. Parents liked my idea. Last night, my brother called me screaming, with sister-in-law yelling in the background. Apparently, our parents told them we're not keeping that one tradition that'll cost us $50,000. So he called me an idiot and told me that we were uninvited unless I and my parents followed through on the jewelry gift. So, am I the idiot? I talked my parents out of giving my future sister-in-law a traditional Asian wedding gift. I'm not even engaged yet, but my mom has already picked out the gift for my girlfriend should we get married. Wow, sounds to me like she's okay with your culture when it gives her money. He's such a gold digger, it's comical. But come on, you can't reject every little piece of a culture and then expect to get $50,000 in jewelry because of it. Not the idiot, and talk with your parents and tell them to stand their grounds even more, as it's proving she's just using the family. Toaster is a brilliant gift to her. Yep, that's going to be a long marriage. I would be so relieved not to be invited to this wedding that I'd tell my brother, thanks so much, I won't be coming. I would be relieved to not spend that kind of money. However, your brother needs a wake-up call. She's a walking, more like screaming, red flag. Exactly. Future sister-in-law clarified that she was uninterested in your traditions and culture. So why keep this one? Let your brother know that since she doesn't like all the other traditions, you don't want to force this one on her either. I really wonder what your brother's thinking about marrying this woman. What happens when children are born? Will she refuse to teach them your side of their culture? Sorry, but you can't have it both ways. Either stay out of the wedding planning or get involved, but it could be more helpful to pick and choose when to jump in and argue. Your mom should not have shared that information with your brother. That's your parents' decision of whether or not to follow through with this tradition. Your sister-in-law sounds very inconsiderate and rude. Your brother needs to wake up. Why is he marrying this woman? You are the idiot for being overly involved in your brother's wedding. Not your monkey, not your circus. Well, she's gorgeous. That's the word my girlfriend used to describe her the first time they met. It's our cultural tradition for the groom's immediate family to all chip in for the jewelry set. Since our other siblings are still in school or just started working, I was going to chip in for half of the cost while my parents covered the other half. I don't want to pay $25,000 plus for jewelry for a wedding present. My ex-wife, 44, and I, 43 male, were together for 14 years and have been divorced for almost 5 years now. We also have an 18-year-old son together who lives primarily with me and visits his mother a few times a week. My son has been working really hard the past year. He's been doing great in school and helps a lot around the house. He's taken on a big role in helping care for his toddler brother the past few months because my wife, 35, is currently 7 months pregnant with our second baby and is having a hard time. My son has also been working a job on the weekends to save up for a car he really wants. He's set to graduate in a few weeks. I've really noticed how hard my son has been working for the past year and how much he's been contributing to the household over the past few months. So, as a graduation gift, I wanted to get him something special for all his efforts. The car my son wants would definitely take him a few years to save up for, so that seems like a great gift. So I bought him the car he wanted as a gift, and he really enjoyed it. It was definitely an expensive gift for an 18-year-old, but he deserved it. A couple of days ago, out of the blue, I got multiple messages from my ex-wife. She said I bought our son this expensive car without consulting her first. I told her that our son is a legal adult, so I'm not obligated to consult her about that. She said that as his mother, she has a right to be a part of a decision like this. I just repeated that he's 18, so I don't need to ask her for permission in any way for this. This turned into her getting angrier and even insulting me on how incompetent of a parent I am. I just ignored her after that. Am I the idiot? Edit. I got his insurance, and the repair was all covered by myself. What's the problem with parents sharing information? Obviously, OP doesn't need permission to buy a car, but why not tell the kid's mom? In this case, it's all great news. Kid's mom did play a role in raising him. Sure, she'd be happy to hear he's done an awesome job this year. Isn't the whole idea of parenting doing what's in the best interest of the child? Kids can never have too many people in their lives that love and care for them. Why get annoyed because someone else is interested in your kid's well-being? Weird. Technically not the idiot, but why argue about this stuff? What's the big secret? My mother behaved the same way when my dad bought my older brother a car and put it in my brother's name. She demanded the insurance be in her name, and my dad declined, saying she would only use it as a form of control. OP, you and she are not together, so she has no say in what you spend your money on when spending your money on your son. She can stay mad. Is this why you divorced her? What a surprise. I bet their son's car is better than hers, and she's jealous the money that was spent on something for their son rather than on something for her. On top of that, she probably thinks it makes her look like a garbage parent because the dad bought it and she had no part in it. OP sounds like a great parent. I agree. She doesn't pay for his insurance. He's no longer a child that she has any legal right over. Not to mention, it's a great way to show how much you appreciate what he does and show that he isn't forgotten with a new sibling. In fact, I wouldn't be too surprised if that's why your ex was mad. It's hard to push a narrative now of you caring more about the expected baby than you do him. So before my wife and I met, she lost her daughter 5 years ago. As a result, my stepson, Evan, now a teen, keeps a photo of his late sister in a locket on a chain. It looks like a normal necklace to the outside observer, but it's his most valuable possession. Last Thursday, Evan came home with a detention slip for the next day after school. The offense was listed as uncouth language and severe insulting of another student, or something similar. I asked him to explain what happened, and this is how he described it. Apparently, at the start of his gym class, he removed his necklace and put it with his hoodie against the wall. Another student, Kayla, picked up his necklace and started taunting him about it. She asked if it was his girlfriend's picture, and when Evan said it was his sister, she said, "That makes sense. Only gay guys wear necklaces after all. Ha ha." Evan tried to take the necklace back, but she and her friends tossed it around and played a keep away with it. When he eventually got it back with a friend's help, he cussed her and her friends out quite loudly. I'm not sure what exactly he shouted at her, but it did, by Evan's own admission, include witch and piece of crap, without the censoring, of course. Because he swore a lot and shouted, The school decided that he was the aggressor and issued him after-school detention. Kayla has not been punished so far as I know. I reluctantly signed the detention slip because I didn't want to cause trouble between Evan and the school administration. Neither my wife or myself have given him any other punishment. Yesterday, my wife came to me in private and told me she'd been thinking things over and wanted to give Evan extra chores as a punishment. She said that while what Kayla did was awful and cruel, his language was unacceptable. She emphasized his calling a girl a witch and said that that word was particularly harmful to young women. I'm not a woman, so I don't know if this is true. I told her that he had already been punished. He had detention. She said that he needs to know that we don't approve either, that some punishment needs to come from us. She eventually gave up, but now she's being a bit cold and distant, and I'm wondering if I did something wrong or if I should agree to punish Evan. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Parents don't get to unilaterally punish children, period. Also, the school's logic reeks of misogyny. Kayla gets to steal and taunt your stepson about his dead sister. Still, he gets punished for yelling and cursing, which is perfectly justified in my opinion. Don't forget, she also tried to attack him for being gay. Seems like her phobia cancels out his misogynistic language. She's worse than him, though, because she was bullying when she said it, while he was highly emotional because she was threatening something so deeply personal and important. So he deserved to pass for his language. But OP's wife was concerned about calling a young girl names, but the young girl called her son gay. Mom's more concerned about the girl than her own son. Sad. The problem isn't calling him gay. It's disrespecting him and his dead sister. OP, you should be going to the school and addressing the girl and her friend's behavior. To taunt a young man over a necklace with a picture of his dead sister? Have the girl and her parents called into the office and ask them if they feel their daughter and her friends should be allowed to get away scot-free over such behavior. Evan doesn't need punishment. He needs conversation, checking in on his feelings and developing a plan for what he could have done differently. I, 25 male, work a mundane office job in middle corporate America and spend most days hating whatever decisions I made to get me to this point. One of the people I'm closer to is Ash, 24, female. We're the only people under 30 in the office, so that's why we've gotten closer. Yesterday, we had our spring cleaning day. This is where we were instructed to wear comfy clothes we could beat up to clean the office. We were instructed to wear jeans and a t-shirt, or whatever was comfortable, and similar to that. No sweatpants, though. The short version is that Ash was called into our boss's office and spoken to about her outfit choice, which was jeans and a crop sweater. They told her that wearing a crop sweater just above her navel was inappropriate work attire, even in such a situation. The boss gave her an old t-shirt with the company logo to change into. Ash spent the next 30 minutes yapping my ear off about how it's unfair, misogynistic, and embarrassing that she was spoken to about her outfit. She said she wore jeans and a comfortable top so that she could get dirty, which is exactly what the boss said we should wear. After growing tired of listening to her, I told her that I didn't feel bad for her and that she made a dumb decision. Then she accused me of being as misogynistic as our boss. I told her she was in a corporate job. She's not 16, so frankly, she should know better. And it doesn't take a genius to know you should probably have shoulders to knees covered in a work setting. I know I didn't put it kindly, but she was also yapping for a while, and I just couldn't understand how she didn't see this coming. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She'd have to change if she wore an old shirt with curse words all over it. If you wore a crop top, you would have to change. They didn't send her home. They gave her a replacement article of clothing, so she didn't lose pay if it was hourly. It's a corporate job. This is normal for corporate jobs. The dress code relaxes on your spring cleaning day, but it doesn't disappear. If everyone else understood the assignment, why should she receive special treatment for this mistake? You are the idiot and the boss in the company. First off, spring cleaning day? What corporate job uses their workers as janitorial staff? Second, their instructions were pretty open to interpretation, and forcing her to change was degrading and embarrassing. I don't think you need to sit there on end to listen to her, but Ash was right. This was all BS. Oh, you two grow up. The only places of business where it's okay to wear clothes with an exposed midriff are bars and places with uniforms that are designed to show it. It's common sense that it's unacceptable in an office, even on the most casual Fridays. I have a feeling she knew exactly what she was doing. Nobody working a corporate job would make that kind of mistake. Let's be real. She hoped to get sent home and thus get out of cleaning day. I live with my partner, and while both of us got our driving licenses at the beginning of the year, neither of us has a car yet. I'm fine with that since I currently work from home, and while public transport might be annoying, I'd rather use that than pay for a car since I have an urgent need for one. My girlfriend will start a new job in September and was talking about buying a car since she'll be on more money and can afford one, and she said it'll make getting to her new job easier. Initially, she asked if I wanted to go on the insurance, and so then on weekends and things when we go away, we'd be able to split the driving. I agreed, and after working out cost, we agreed I'd pay my girlfriend between £150 and £200 a month to pay for the extra insurance cost and some towards the car. My girlfriend came to me last week and said she's been thinking and wants to be the only person driving the car, but asked if I could still pay £100 a month. I asked why she wanted to be the only one driving, and she said with it being her first car, she wanted it to be hers. I said, fair enough, but I'll not pay anything towards it since I won't be paying for a car I can't use. She mentioned that I'd still be benefiting. Still, I pointed out that I'm happy using public transport, so I shouldn't have to pay just because a benefit gets forced on me. She mentioned that since I'm getting a pay raise this year, she thought I could help. And I just repeated that I shouldn't have to pay for a car that I can't drive. She said because of the benefits I'll be getting, that I'm being unreasonable. Am I the idiot for refusing to pay for a car I cannot drive? If she thinks that's fair, I've got a deal for her. Could you tell her that I'll let her pay me £50 a month to not drive my car? It's twice as good as the deal she's offering you. Not the idiot. I don't know what's going on in her mind that she thinks this is reasonable. So you're not married, but she wants the financial benefits of being married by not sharing her assets, even though she wants you to pay towards that asset, those assets. No. Reminds me of my ex. Her car was hers, and mine was ours. It's not right. Take the flag for what it is and run. LOL. I don't even get how OP is benefiting from all this. Because she gave OP a lift here and there? If you can use Uber or car sharing on that occasion, it'd still be cheaper. If she wants the car to be hers, she must pay for it. The most you should be expected to pay for is gas on road trips. Good luck in this relationship. I, 20 female, threw away the present my grandparents bought me for my birthday because it was inappropriate. My grandparents are highly religious. They're the type of people to put flyers on people's doors. It annoys me, but obviously, I never say anything about it, and I don't know them well enough to talk about religion with them. I currently have a girlfriend. I had no idea they would have an issue with this when I told them. They came to town and we greeted them. During small talk, they asked if I had a boyfriend, and I said, a girlfriend. They sort of exchanged glances, and I knew they were judging me. The judgment was confirmed when we got together for dinner last night, and they bought me something while in town for my birthday. I was very happy and ecstatic. I kept saying thank you, but when I opened it, it was a book called Becoming the Woman God Wants Me to Be. I had no issue with it at all and said thanks, until my grandpa explained that they hoped this read would get me back on track and that they thought I needed God during this difficult time in my life. I knew, absolutely knew, that this was because I told them I had a girlfriend. That was one of the main details they knew about my life. So I doubt that they meant it about some other struggle, because of course, I hadn't told them anything about any other struggles that I was going through. I asked my dad, and he didn't either. I was trying to convince myself I was offended for no reason. I know that they technically meant well, but wow. I got annoyed and went silent for the rest of the dinner. I could tell my dad knew I was angry about it. When I got home, I threw the book away. Unfortunately for me, when they came by today to check out the place, my grandma noticed it in the open trash can. She didn't say anything, but before they left, I saw them talking to my dad about something apparently serious outside. My dad got annoyed and said that if I threw it away, the least I could have done was hide it. I'm mad that he's mad at me. I thought he, out of all people, would understand why this hurts me and how offensive it is to me. P.S. I love my dad very much. He's made it clear he doesn't support what they feel about this whole situation, and he doesn't care that I prefer women. He even supported me through my awkward, confused middle school pixie cut phase. He's a cool dad. I'm angry at his reaction, but I somewhat understand it. It would not be fun to have your parents feel hurt by something your kid did. You're not the idiot for throwing away the book. The book is a direct, personal insult to you and has no place in your home. You're not obligated to appreciate a gift. Your grandparents are welcome to be offended by seeing it in the trash. Hopefully, it results in them asking you about it and maybe educating themselves on why it's so offensive. You showed more grace than I would have. I'm sorry you're going through this. Come on, there's no way you were totally shocked that your extremely religious, door-to-door proselytizing grandparents wouldn't be cool with you dating a woman. Oh wow. Buy them one of those For Dummies books on the subject of not being judgmental idiots maybe. Your dad just probably doesn't want to deal with their attitude any more than you do. Yeah, I was going to say the dad doesn't want to hear their crap. Rather than stand up to his parents for his daughter, he just wants her to ignore them and keep quiet. Much easier on his part, but that method backfires eventually, eroding his daughter's confidence in him. As a father, he has to protect and stand up for his child, and he's refusing to do so simply because it's inconvenient for him. I wish you all the best and hope you can get out of that situation quickly and go no contact with them all. I, 29 male, have been with my wife, 29, for 6 years. My wife is pregnant and suffering from complications, and we have weekly appointments since she's high risk. She also has very high anxiety about this pregnancy since we've lost in the past, so I always make sure I'm off or available on days of her appointments to go with her. We also have a toddler son who has autism. Our son is specifically hard to get up and ready, especially quickly. He throws tantrums or hides when he doesn't want to do something. It can be a struggle trying to get him out of the house. A few days ago was our appointment, but I got a call from my mother saying my sister was being rushed to the hospital, that she was in a motorcycle crash and it was super serious. I explained to my wife, head there 40 minutes away. I found out that it was not as serious as they thought, and my sister had a minor concussion and a dislocated knee. My mom is known to be dramatic. I told my wife and she was furious because I missed the appointment. She was late because our son wasn't cooperating, and he screamed for most of the appointment. When I'm there, it's easier to calm him down when he gets overwhelmed. She told me she had seen where my priorities were. I told her it wasn't my fault. I didn't know my sister wasn't actually seriously injured. And she told me she's my wife, carrying our child, and that she needed me there, but I wasn't reliable. Then she began ranting about what if she found out that day something was wrong with the baby and I wasn't there. I said, but you didn't. And she completely flipped. She's still weird to me and has been nagging me not to miss this next appointment. I know it's probably the pregnancy hormones, but am I really the idiot? Let me clarify. You prioritized your sister over your pregnant wife? Now you're wondering why your wife is angry with you. Gee, I wonder why. You are the idiot, OP. I'm so sorry, but OP's not the idiot. In this situation, no matter what you do, you'll upset someone. Your mom is the idiot for being overly dramatic, and your wife shouldn't make you choose between your sister and her. That's unfair. I would wait till she calms down slightly and have a gentle conversation about this. Acknowledge her anxiety and how you want to be there, and you are. This may be this way, though, throughout the whole pregnancy. Disagree. It sounds like OP knows his mom is like this and proceeded to drop everything and rush anyways. Given the wife's appointment, he could have checked with someone else to verify what was going on before going to the hospital. Also, the idiot part was coming home and dismissing his wife as being overly dramatic and telling her she was just fine. I don't care how dramatic OP's mother tends to be. If you hear motorcycle crash and serious, the appropriate response isn't, I'm sure my sister's fine. It's going to make anyone react irrationally. If OP's making it to nearly every appointment and misses one because he thinks his sister might be dead, that's a perfectly reasonable thing. However, something needs to be done about the mother's overdramatic tendencies, though. Ultimately, going to say, no idiots here. I, 20 female, had my son about a month ago. I lived with my mom and boyfriend and decided to have a baby shower after giving birth. The baby shower was held at our mom's, and I just wanted close family. My brother, 28, and his girlfriend, 26, have been together for 5 years. They live together out of state from us, so we only see them a couple of times a year. I sent an invite to my brother, obviously. For the shower, I made shirts for family members that said Mom, Dad, Grandma, etc. I thought it would be cute for photos. I had an uncle shirt for my brother, and he brought his girlfriend with him. I didn't have a shirt for her. They're not married, so I didn't think to make an aunt shirt for her or include her in family photos. Once the shirts were handed out, she sat in the living room alone and was on her phone. It was awkward. I didn't let her hold the baby because her body language was closed off during the party, and my brother accommodated her half the time. I barely got to spend time with him. She was free to eat and join games, but she didn't seem interested, and they ended up leaving early to go to her dad's, who also lives in the same city as us. Once that night passed, my mom called my brother to ask what was up, and my brother said his girlfriend was very upset and felt excluded, like she wasn't a part of the family. The party was literally for my newborn son, and now it turned into drama. I feel like my brother's mad at me over this. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. They've been together for 5 years and traveled from out of state to celebrate your son, but you wouldn't even let her hold the baby? You made shirts, okay. Why, though, wouldn't you even take a couple of pictures with her? You made sure to make someone who's been associated with your family feel like an outsider, and you think that's okay. You're the one who turned it into an unnecessary drama. You made the shower all about you. The photo thing is silly. You could have taken some photos with her and some without her and have it both ways. Let her hold the baby for a couple of minutes. She wasn't making the whole thing about herself. She just wanted to feel included. She didn't throw a fit at all or yell at anyone. She just quietly left an uncomfortable situation. If OP wants to see her brother more, maybe she should include his 5-year partner. I want to know how long OP and her baby daddy have been together, since being with someone for 5 years isn't considered family. Considering she is a child and lives with her mother, she has no leg to stand on in judging her brother's relationship. I'm speculating here, but I feel like you intentionally excluded her because you don't like her. There's more going on here than you're letting on, OP. For context, I, 23 female, and my boyfriend, 22, moved in together in January 2023. The name on the lease is mine, and I pay all the bills even though we got it together. When we met, we were both living with our parents, and I was thinking of moving out already. Still, as our relationship progressed, my boyfriend started pressuring me into getting an apartment because he was tired of being unable to be together every night. He put absolutely zero effort into this apartment, didn't search for it, pay any fees or furniture, and I had to do it alone. At first, I didn't mind it too much because I had a stable job and made 3 times more than he did. A couple weeks ago, the company I worked for closed down and I lost my new job. I now have a transition job while I look for more suitable options. My boyfriend also got a new job and he now makes more than I do. Since I'm struggling a lot to pay all of the apartment bills by myself, I asked him to pay his share so we could both live decently. He refused. As of right now, my entire salary goes into the bills and the groceries that he doesn't pay for either, leaving me with $13 in my bank account until the next payday in a month. My boyfriend still refuses to pay anything, claiming he's saving his money for a new car. He also eats out every lunch because he's too lazy to cook and goes out with his friends on nights out regularly. All of these are things I can't even do for myself once a month. The big fight happened this morning. We went out to dinner yesterday because he pressured me into going, knowing I couldn't afford it. He paid for dinner and everything was fine. This morning he asked me to pay back the entire dinner bill, his share included, because he had already planned to take me to a restaurant later this month, so he didn't want to pay for both. I became really annoyed, telling him he knew I couldn't afford it because I paid for everything else. I reminded him that I had to give up on my last year of college to take a full-time job and pay for our apartment, and that I had to sell some of my belongings, like my PC, to be able to make the rent the month before. He still refused to understand and participate, so I asked him to leave. Now his whole family's texting me, saying that I can't expect him to pay for me when we eat out, and that I should give him the money back. But when I bring up my paying for the entire apartment and groceries, they all say, "But you made more money than him when you got it," and say it's my problem if I now have a crappy job. I'm starting to think I'm crazy. So, do you think I'm the idiot for kicking my boyfriend out? Not the idiot, except that you stayed so long and are considering bringing the garbage back inside. This is called financial abuse, honey. He's keeping you poor. Quite simply, this road waffle is using you for his piggy bank. And if he has such a high-paying job, why isn't he helping you out? Why is he going out every day for lunch with his friends, and yet you're staying home with $13, maybe, in your bank account? And hell, is he even going out with his friends? I mean, you weren't going out with him, I noticed. So what is he really doing out? Honey, you can't see that there are a lot of red flags here, but I assure you they're flying. The answer is all. Thank goodness OP had the spine to throw out that freeloader, that crusty chicken nugget. And I agree. Once you've taken out the trash, don't reopen that bag and dig through it. You won't find anything worth saving in there, hun. It sounds like his family is sick of his leeching behavior too. That crusty chicken nugget. But sure, them gaslighting you to take back this prize of a partner, and I say that as sarcastically as possible, is a good sign. Let them kick him out too. His family's mad because he's their problem again. Yes, his mom, not the one who contacted me, has said multiple times she would not take him back if something happened between us. The time we spent together is nice, and he's always been adorable. But when money's involved, he's an entirely different guy. I feel bad. I'm 26, pregnant, and my boyfriend, 29, and I are extremely happy. We have similar aged friends that we've told about the pregnancy. They were very happy for us, but one couple in particular hadn't even known about our pregnancy for more than 15 minutes before they gave us a list of 30+ names we absolutely could not use under any circumstances. Normally, I would be considerate about such a thing. We have family-related names on our own list, and I understand how having someone else use it before you could be heartbreaking. However, their list, more or less, consists of the most used names from the last few years. I've asked them on multiple occasions if any of the names have some special significance to them. Every time they've said no, they simply just like them. We expect our baby in a few months, whereas this couple isn't even trying to make a baby and aren't planning on it for a few more years. They've been together way longer than my boyfriend and I, and have talked about baby names for the last 5+ years. Still, as far as I've understood and am aware, their list constantly changes. So we've told them that we aren't going out of our way to pick a name from their list, but won't steer clear of them just because they like them. This has resulted in them calling us all sorts of names, and they've brought it up at family birthdays, to which we've been invited, where their family takes their side. So, am I the idiot for disregarding their 30+ list of common baby names when we pick our name? Congratulations on your pregnancy. If they had one name, maybe two, that was really special, I would give them some consideration. But 30? Are they planning on having 30 kids? Not the idiot, and they're not acting like friends. Seriously, people are reserving the use of a whole list of names now? Why do they even care? Especially if they're common names and have no special meaning. You and your partner should just create your own list of common baby names and tell them not to use it. See how they like it. The thought of them, after only just finding out you're pregnant, shoving a list of 30 blacklisted names in your face is hilarious. If they had a name that they didn't want you to use for highly personal reasons to them, I'd sort of understand. But it sounds like you aren't even that close for it to matter. Why are you friends with these people? Drop them. Pick the name you love, and best of luck with everything. My husband, 32, and I, 30, have been married for over a year, and things couldn't be rockier. I have a good job and make decent money, whereas my husband does not make as much as me. Due to this and the fact that he was living with his parents when we got married, we decided he would move in with me, and I would continue to pay the rent and bills as long as he put money toward other things we may need as a couple. My name is the only one on the lease. However, he started to cut down on his work hours once we got married without saying anything first. He explained that I made plenty of money for the both of us, so he could work part-time and do the work around the house while I was the main breadwinner. I was fine with this, a little upset that he had just assumed this would be okay, but I didn't say anything as this felt fair. He did some work around the house initially, but spent most of his time going out to the bar, playing video games, etc., to the point where I worked and did the cooking, cleaning, and other household chores. My husband told me he was laid off 2 months ago for reasons out of his control. I assumed at this time that he would begin job hunting, and I began to pay for everything. While I do earn a decent amount of money, it's not to the point where I can pay for rent, bills, groceries, insurance, contribute to emergency savings, and finance the lifestyle my husband started indulging in. So I began paying for his nights out, summing him money for trips to look for work, etc., all while I was under the assumption that he would begin searching for a new job, at least to finance his hobbies. About a week ago, I asked him how the job hunt was going, and he told me that he didn't feel like it was worth it. He told me he was comfortable with what we have now, and I wasn't happy. So I confronted him about how I was doing everything to finance and take care of our household. At the same time, he sat around and played video games. I was being an idiot here, I'll admit it. And during this argument, he let it slip that he actually quit and never looked for another job. I was furious that he lied to me and told him I didn't want him in my home right now. So I helped him pack and dropped him off at his parents' house. Fast forward to now. My in-laws are understanding to an extent, but are calling me an idiot for not wanting him to come back home until he gets a job. I've seen my husband during this time, but never in our home, always out somewhere. I no longer pay for everything, and his attitude toward me is making me question our entire relationship. He's calling me an idiot for doing this to him, and I'm beginning to think he's right. Am I an idiot? Not the idiot. Your husband is taking advantage of you. He didn't give you any choice in this. He just made decisions and forced you to go along with them. Divorce him before you end up paying alimony. He's dead weight, and you're better off without him. Yeah, only being together a year, OP might not even need to pay alimony. Where I am, it's 1 year of alimony for every 3 years you've been together, And they don't seem to have any marital assets, only stuff OP came into the marriage with. So this is really OP's chance to get out with a clean cut, and most of the money they entered the marriage with. LOL at him saying he's comfortable with how things are now. Of course he's comfortable. He's not doing anything. I would ask about an annulment instead of a divorce. At this point, it's as if he married her under false pretenses. His intention was always to quit his job and not work, and block the in-laws and contact a lawyer. Why do you think they're so desperate to give him back? They raised a dud and want you to take care of it. You deserve better. I had plans with my boyfriend, Jack, his brother Tyler, and my friend Paula to go hiking last weekend. I'd suggested an easier, flatter trail for us to hike, since Paula isn't as experienced a hiker as the rest of us. I thought the plan was just to hike together and hang out and talk, but the day of, we started at an average pace, and the guys just kept going faster. Paula was lagging behind, kind of out of breath, and I stuck with her. I was irritated because a huge rule of wilderness safety is to stay with your group, because stuff can go sideways fast in the backcountry. They were stopping to wait every mile or so, but we never knew where because they didn't say, and nobody had cell service. But as soon as we caught up, they'd start going at top speed again, leaving us to play catch-up nonstop. I told Jack that I'd like them to stick with us, and he complained that we were too slow, the trail was too easy, and they needed their workout. After the third time they ran off, Paula and I got to this viewpoint before the main peak, so we sat down to take our first breather in hours and vent. She joked that we should stop chasing and let them wonder. I suggested we hang out at the viewpoint until the guys noticed or found us on our way back down. She pulled out some herbs she'd been planning on sharing at the top of the mountain, and we hung out and smoked and ate our lunch. It was an hour and a half before the guys came back. We heard them before we saw them. They were sprinting down the trail, yelling our names. I called out, "Over here," except I was coughing from smoking, so it sounded more like, "Over, cough, cough here." The guys came running to the viewpoint, and Paula was giggling her butt off at my attempt to yell. Of course, I got the giggles from her, and from smoking too. The guys confused our giggling for crying since we were both just wheezing with laughter, and were asking us what happened, and I was like, "We're okay, we're just happy." Tyler got really mad at us, saying they had stopped off half a mile from the summit to wait for us before making the final push, and after we didn't show up for an hour, they turned back to look for us instead of summiting, and he was furious that we just stopped to get high without telling them. I was like, "I thought we split up, like y'all were off doing your own thing all day." And my boyfriend raised his voice at me, telling me that you don't split up a group without communication. At that, Paula and I giggled again, like, no kidding. It was just funny how he was saying the same thing I'd been saying all day. For the rest of the hike, the guys were angry with us because we ruined their summit, making them turn back just because we didn't even try to keep up. Am I the idiot for going missing on a hike? Not the idiot. You told Jack and Tyler repeatedly what the issue was. They ignored you and did their own thing. You and Paula finally gave up trying to win a losing game. I hike. You adjust your route to fit the weakest hiker, not the strongest. Duh. The guys could have had their workout on a different day, different hike. Instead, they chose to abandon you and Paula over and over again. You didn't ruin anything. I don't blame you a bit for taking care of yourselves. Trying to keep up with those two could have resulted in exhaustion and getting lost. Getting rescued isn't always free either. Your boyfriend and his pal foolishly, selfishly, and deservedly ruined their own trip. If they were so caring, they shouldn't have waited at the half-mile mark. They should have accompanied you. Also, I would have laughed at the irony in the boyfriend saying, "You don't split up." You're right. They were the ones who split the group and refused to slow down a bit. Also, if the summit was that important for them, they could have left you there and made the summit and returned. As you said, they've been doing that all day. I, teen female, have a twin brother, Cody. I do cheer and Cody does sports. We do these activities because we enjoy them, but Cody also puts a lot of effort because he's constantly seeking approval from our dad and stepdad. The two don't care for each other, but are somehow best friends when it comes to Cody's sports. He does like 5 different ones because our dad likes hockey and lacrosse, while our stepdad prefers football and basketball. They both enjoy baseball. If he ever dares to quit one of them will throw a riot or accuse him of playing favorites. It's so dumb. Sometimes Cody's schedules clash or get so overwhelming that he'll lay on his bedroom floor for hours and disassociate. It's been like this since he was 10. My mom and stepmom think it's just men being men and that boys enjoy sports. So Cody probably doesn't care. But there's a limit to everything, right? We were having a celebratory lunch for our older sister before she left for college, and both sides were there. The lunch ended at 2 p.m., and our sister asked if we wanted to go to the mall. I said yes, and Cody was clearly going to say yes, but our dad said he had baseball practice. Cody tried asking if he could sit out one day, since he hasn't missed a single practice in his life, but our stepdad joined our dad's practice makes perfect speech and backed out. Then they tried to use me as an example. Oh, Ashley's never missed a day of practice, and look at her. Medals and trophies for days. I thought this was ridiculous. I've missed plenty of practices, and Cody has more awards than me. I asked them if they were serious and told them what I had just mentioned. My dad kept telling me to be quiet, but I called him and my stepdad losers that need to realize that Cody is a human being with limits, not a doll they can program or play with. Both of them were very embarrassed. My dad told me I was being very disrespectful. My mom said I was reading too much into the whole thing and that they're men and I simply won't get their dynamics. I call BS, but they all say I'm in the wrong and need to apologize. My sister agrees with me, but says I was disrespectful. Cody doesn't want to talk about it. Am I the idiot? Just to make it clear, the practice was an informal one. Think of it as extra credit to strengthen specific skills. Not the idiot. It needed to be said, and sadly no one has said it before. Good for you for standing up for him. When your brother has a breakdown from the pressure, your dad and stepdad will be there, all confused as to why it's happened. Both your dad and stepdad are idiots in this scenario. They need to grow up and realize that your brother quitting a sport from either side doesn't count as him playing favorites. God, they sound so immature. And toxic masculinity is real, and your poor brother's on the receiving end of it from all the directions. So keep standing up for him. 5 sports? Jesus. Cody's gonna hit the wall and burn out spectacularly. By the sounds of it, he's already halfway there. Those losers are trying to live or relive their youth through Cody, which is pathetic. Your brother's gonna kill himself trying to please them. Please keep doing what you're doing. You seem like the only sane person he has. Talk to someone in school, teachers, social workers, or even the coaches. The pressure isn't healthy. My 34 female parents had me when they were teenagers, and they only had my other brothers when I had left home, young male teen, tween male, and pre-tween male. I believe I was a fraternal figure present for my younger brothers as much as possible, but I was already in college, living alone when the oldest was born. Taking care of them on my vacation made me realize that I would never have children. When I turned 27, I received a job offer in another country, and I stayed there until the beginning of this year. Having to return to the country because my mother died, my father died at the beginning of the global issue. I came back, but I could only stay 3 weeks in my country. I had to take a break and ask for leave. I asked for a lot of vacation time in advance because I had to deal with my mother's inventory, and I was the only representative of my brothers. Everything is on track. My mother facilitated many things before she passed away, and I lived in an apartment while my brothers lived with this aunt of mine. I spoke to the social worker who considered me returning to my country for the good of them because my brothers don't know the language, non-Latin, of their country, and that it would be a big change in their lives. I said that I didn't intend to adopt my brothers because despite having conditions, I work a lot of time away, staying away from home for 2 weeks at least, and moving back, losing a very good job was not an option for me. Besides the biggest fact, I don't want to have kids or be responsible for not 1, but 3 siblings, and that if someone in my family wants to be responsible, I'll help with whatever it takes and commit myself on my vacations to taking care of them during this period, but I don't intend and don't want to be responsible. The social worker understood my side. I talked to my brothers about it, about me not being able to move. They didn't want to move to another country. The oldest one even has a girlfriend, but I would never stop visiting when possible, and they were welcome to spend my vacation with me. They were a little upset, but we managed together. Therapy also. The problem is my aunt, who, when she found out, started screaming at me, saying that I'm abandoning my brothers and leaving my responsibility to another relative, how cruel I am to turn my back, etc. Keep in mind that the person responsible for my siblings will be able to live in a 5-bed, 4-bathroom house, and there will be no financial cost to raise my siblings, as I'm willing to pay. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Asking for you to take in one child is a lot. Never mind 3 at once. That's a huge decision, and I think most people aren't in a situation where they could easily do that. You can't be expected to drop everything in life for kids that aren't even your own. Plus, I think you did a good thing by still offering to send money for them and visit often. It shows you still care about your siblings and still want to be there for them, and I think that's commendable. Many people wouldn't be able or willing to even do that. For kids that aren't even your own, I don't know why, but this stood out to me. They're siblings. It's not like they're complete strangers. The rest of it still stands though, obviously. Suddenly taking care of 3 children is a lot to ask. You are not a stranger. You're still their big sister. After their parents, you're the only one they have to rely on until they go to the majority. You're dumping these kids, who knows where, because you don't want to take responsibility. Whose problem should it be? You are the idiot. Life doesn't always give us what we planned or wanted, but sometimes we must step up. This is one of those times. Disagree. If you took them in only because of the guilt trip, you'd resent them for the rest of your life. This seems the best way to preserve your relationship with them, and I admire you for stepping up financially and committing your vacation time to them. If your aunt feels so strongly, she's welcome to assume responsibility. I, 24 male, have several food allergies and sensitivities. Because of this, I usually only eat food that I make. My family had a dinner hosted by my cousins. I was hesitant, but I gave them a list of things I couldn't have, and they promised to make me something. However, they told me they couldn't figure out how to make something for me when we got there. I told them that they could have at least told me so that I could bring something for myself. Then they got mad and said bringing your food to dinner was rude. I asked them if not eating the food provided would be rude, and they also said yes. I asked if my getting violently ill or having an allergic reaction would also be rude, and they just looked at me like they were disgusted. Then they screamed at me that they worked hard on dinner and I would be eating it. I just went home after that. Most of the family calls me petty and rude, and it's starting to get to me. Am I wrong here? Not the idiot, and I'm confused about what they expect you to do here. Bringing your own food, rude. Okay, fine. Sitting there without eating, rude. Leaving because you can't eat anything, mega rude. Literally, you're right. By their logic, or lack thereof, apparently the only polite choice by process of elimination would be to die. Who are these people? It chaps my hide when people pull this on me, essentially giving me no options where I can do the right thing according to their judgment. And no, I don't care if Great Aunt Tilly and Great Uncle Roy spent hours preparing all kinds of food. If it's one of my allergies, I am not going to eat it, period. No, not just a taste either. Why is it considered rude for someone to avoid eating a food that causes a medical issue? But it's not rude to expect someone to eat a food that causes a medical issue. Get the heck out with that mentality. Your family needs a timeout. People who do not have food allergies don't understand what happens when you eat something you cannot eat. They don't know how anaphylaxis feels, how sick you are, and how expensive it can be. You provided a list to your cousins. They decided it was too hard and didn't tell you until you arrived. They are the idiots here.